And hello, everybody. This is Zach and Matt coming to you live for another episode of the Triangle Tennis Podcast, your premier source of Triangle area men's recreational tennis-based audio-only content. Matt, who do we have on today?
Today we have a local legend. He's a teacher. He's a coach. His bag jingles. I wonder why. Maybe he'll have to tell us. He has terrible taste in college basketball. I had to ad-lib that one. Sorry, Zach. Welcome to the podcast, Laurence Isaac.
Good evening. It's delightful to be here.
So Matt did not read the
honored.
joke that I put into the intro, which is he's a fan of Louisville basketball. Is that?
Oh,
is that...
don't even.
Oh, because you like Kentucky? Yeah, they're both terrible to you. I have no interest in either of them. They're both terrible to me.
This is a great Midwestern. Is Kentucky the Midwest beef?
It is a kind of border state.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to get things started by playing America's game. It's the game that has been called the Jeopardy of the Triangle area tennis scene because it's so popular. It is Guess That Triangle Tennis Player. All right. Matt, you want to start us off?
Sure. He's got a silky smooth game. He rarely misses. He's very fast.
Yes.
One of the fastest guys I've seen out there. You've played him at least twice in doubles this year? Apparently.
Correct.
Okay. That's it? Silky smooth and fast?
He's got a big forehand. He's got a big forehand, slice backhand.
How many guys have you played in doubles twice this year?
A lot.
A lot? Start naming them because one of them is this person.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Played him in USTA or
Correct, yes.
intra?
Once in mixed,
early.
I believe, and once in fellas.
In mixed.
I believe in mixed.
Oh, okay. That narrows it down. Oh, okay. Yep, Jack Hu.
Yeah.
Bingo. Ding, 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 ding.
Okay, yeah.
And
yeah,
you
okay.
are 1 for 1 in America's game.
Is it cheating that I open up my USTA app to look at my mixed doubles record?
I don't think we've clarified. We haven't said that you couldn't do that, so then
Great.
It's not illegal. Yeah.
I think we'll
All
have
right.
to go to our attorney, Max Gregson, who
you're
we're
right.
required to say is not technically our attorney, but...
We will ask Max. Yep, we'll have to get with him.
Okay, so this next guy, he's got a one-handed backhand. He's
Yep.
a tall guy. He is absolutely relentless in his pursuit of the ball, and he rocks a nose ring.
He also likes to show off the guns.
He's got him.
Yeah. He likes no sleeves.
It's a very
never-
subtle nose ring, but it looks really cool on him, and I wish that I could pull off that.
I've never
I can't.
seen that on him.
I've never seen
Am I making this up?
anyone wearing a nose ring while playing.
Am I making this up? Oh,
Uh,
guy?
we might have to cut this if I'm making this up.
No,
Tall
because
guy,
like
one-handed backhand.
he two-handed backhand. I feel like
No,
he's always
one-hander.
sleeveless.
One-hander.
Is it a one? Oh, you're right. It is a one-hander.
one-hander. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
an interesting one-hander. It's
It is an interesting one-hander.
It's unorthodox.
But it works.
It does. Yeah.
Ooh.
If I made up a phantom nose ring, that's going to be so dumb and bad. So I am now absolutely looking up this fella.
We'll ask Max Gregson again, but I think he is legally obligated to get a nose ring now if he doesn't. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. He's like my counterpart, a righty.
That's a good comp. That is
best
play
hair.
style-wise.
Yeah,
4-5s with good hair and one-handed backhands.
that's
Luke Sanchez.
yep.
Correct.
Got it.
No kidding, really?
Am I
I've never
crazy
seen
about
a
the
nose ring.
thing?
I thought
Did I
the
make-
guns
okay.
would throw it off because he always wears sleeveless shirts.
If I made up the nose ring,
Okay.
we have to cut this. But I'm pretty sure he's got a nose
No,
ring.
he has
Alright.
to get a nose ring now. That's the rule.
No, he has to get a nose ring in order
Yeah.
for you to be right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, congratulations, Luke Sanchez. One way or another, you're going to have a nose ring. There we go. Okay. Up next, Matt, who we got? Let's alternate for this. Let's mix it up. Let's tag team the hint
Oh,
giving.
okay. So he makes more cross-court forehands and doubles than anyone I or Zach have ever seen.
He has one of the best records in the triangle this entire season. This
You
entire
went-
year, actually.
Yeah. You went and you, as in Laurence, went 3 sets with him in doubles.
And Matt put in the notes, and I concur, not
Yeah.
sure if this guy ever sweats.
Yeah.
He is the opposite of me and the opposite of Ezra in this regard.
Yeah.
And the opposite of Jackson. A lot of sweaters.
Jackson
in the
is a
community.
sweater.
Yeah,
Yep.
a lot
Yep.
of
Jackson's
sweaters.
a sweater.
Cross court forehand. Doesn't sweat. That's
Doesn't seem like he's working very hard, but I know he is.
Very smooth game.
Yeah.
Very smooth.
Oh.
Well,
You stumped
jerky.
me on this one, fellas.
Matt, who we got?
Kwame Owens.
Woo!
Oh, okay. Only played Kwame once.
Recently.
Yeah. And I think he actually played the backhand side.
Oh, interesting.
He played ad side with Jaron.
We
Okay.
played a
Yeah.
match over the weekend, and I was like, his cross-court forehand accuracy was silly. Like,
Yeah.
Interesting.
yeah, like
Okay.
long cross-court rallies in a way that you don't see very often in doubles. And he also has a
Like
knack
even
for-
more than Jack?
Oh, yeah, and he has a knack for keeping it just far enough away from the net player,
Yeah.
even if they're trying to poach. It is a really strong, accurate forehand.
All right.
And with that, let's do a little bit of Laurence on Laurence. Laurence, where are you from?
I am from the Bluegrass State, home of the 8-time national champion men's basketball University of Kentucky Wildcats. The great state of Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky, specifically, center of the state, flagship university, horses, bourbon, and basketball.
Do you ride horses?
I did occasionally when I was little, but that is a rich people sport.
What's it like growing up in Kentucky? It's a state that's got such a unique culture with all the things you just mentioned. What is it like growing up in Kentucky? There's a huge Kentucky delegation in the Triangle for whatever reason.
Yes. Stuart and Josh and Jaron, we are all proud, I think, Kentuckians. It's interesting, since Lexington's a college town, it's not that different from the Triangle, honestly. It's I call it a big small town. Universities are often big small towns.
Yeah.
Close communities, lots of diversity and different activities, all in a pretty accessible space. What I also like about Central Kentucky is that once you get out of the urban areas, and I think that's a lot like North Carolina too, once you get out of town, you're like really out there.
Yeah, yeah.
You can be in the city and do civilized things. And then you can also get out and do naturey and outdoorsy things.
So I just want to put a
So it's
question
pretty cool.
to both of y'all.
Yeah.
Bloomington, Inns and Ton, Lexington, Inns and Ton. Which is better?
We only have 5 national championships, unfortunately. They
Yes.
actually sound pretty comparable. The cities, at least.
I will say there's probably a little greater diversity and elevation in Lexington than Bloomington.
There's
Isn't,
actually more than you would think. It's pretty hilly.
really.
Yeah, it's pretty hilly.
It's not
there.
just flatland.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it is pretty. We have the Hilly 500 where they do a bike race, and
Okay.
it's relatively hilly. I'm sure it's more hilly in Lexington, but it's not like I'm from Fort Wayne and it's flat. Everything's flat. Indianapolis is
Yeah.
flat.
I remember driving to Chicago one time and setting my cruise control around Indianapolis and just tied the wheel in position and then woke up an hour later.
Yep.
Because whatever that
You can do
interstate
that.
is just a straight line through the corn.
I'm hearing that you invented self-driving cars. That's pretty cool. Wow. Look at us.
But you have to have the right road for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That probably works in Florida as well. that's-
Kansas, Indiana, I think are probably two of the best bets on that one.
Yeah. So
But
what?
it was a fun place to grow up. Lots of available activities.
Mhm.
Lexington is one of the only other cities I've lived in that always had the pools open at the public parks. Like almost all the public parks had pools, and they were always filled, and they always had lifeguards and whatnot. There have been times here in Durham where I know they don't fill and they don't staff a lot of the places. So,
Yeah, they just closed down
Lexington
the one.
has a rock solid Parks and Rec department.
Yeah, they just closed down the one around the corner for me, and the summer availability I know for some of the other ones, it just was really limited, and so hopefully that's something that we can do a little bit better here. Did you play tennis growing up in Lexington?
Yes, I started with like little kid camps when I was little. My dad was a rec player at the University of Kentucky has a faculty club. Like it's like their version of the farm. He's a Kentucky alum, and so he belonged out there. So we'd go out there and he played with he had his group of buddies pretty much like we've got, or anybody who's member of Hollow Rock or out at the farm.
Yeah.
And he'd go out there and hit, and then when the family went out there, I'd go out and hit and do little camps and stuff like that. He was the coach of my school's team, and I was terrible.
So we got two coaches kids
Not a good
on one
tennis player.
podcast. I'm outnumbered right now.
Not a good tennis player as a youth. I topped out my high school career my senior year, I think just because people kept on graduating. As a senior, I was number 6 singles and number 3 doubles. So
was your team really good? Was
the
your
lowest
team
starting
was really
spots.
good? That could be okay.
I do have the honor of saying so. Our high school is the smallest, is a small private school where my dad taught. And we're the smallest school to ever win a state title in tennis. We
There
won
you go.
Wow.
men's and women's high school tennis in 1985. So I do have a state championship to my name, but
Wow.
I was not a starter on that squad.
That's still pretty
But my
cool.
name's on it.
Yeah.
Matt, did you ever win
Yeah.
a state championship in high school?
No, we never
Same.
got past. I think we made to regionals once or twice, but that was it.
We got to the semis twice and didn't get particularly close in the semis. So do you have a medal or trophy from that state championship still?
My name is engraved at the end of a very long list on a trophy in the case at my high
Yay.
school.
Oh,
That's
cool.
so
Yeah.
rad. If we can get a picture
Uh,
for that, it's going to be the podcast episode picture for sure.
Oh yeah.
I don't know where it is right now. I haven't been back there in years.
Matt, would you say that's as cool as that very special trophy that
No, my jacking off trophy is definitely better. I forgot that it is at my dad's place, so I'm gonna go there soon. So I will bring home my trophy and jacking off, and I will show. Oh, we'll post it. We'll make sure we post it to the Instagram.
for new listeners, Matt, that aren't familiar with your jacking off trophy, would you just give a quick explanation of how that came to be?
Yeah, it was a high school tournament. I ended up winning the tournament. It was like a pre-states or something, like a tournament, and I won. And the guy comes to hand me the trophy, and the hands are like by their balls, and he's holding a racket, like, you know, with his hands
Fantastic.
next to his balls, and he hands it to me, and there's supposed to be a racket on it, but the racket part is broken off, so it looks like he's just holding his dick with 2 hands, and so it.
Two hands.
Yeah, with 2 hands. And we were 16, 17, so all we did was giggle and joke about it for 2 hours on the way home.
So now, Laurence, you're a teacher. Does that sound consistent with the behavior of youth today, giggling at at that kind of thing?
Oh, so I teach 11 and 12-year-olds, and it's even worse because they're right at that point where they are just now figuring out how hilarious genitalia can be.
Oh, fantastic.
We had a delightful bout of bathroom vandalism last school year. So many penises. So many penises. But honestly, we're an art school, so I really expected better.
Were they anatomically
yeah.
correct?
They were like rudimentary at best.
Yeah, or not even were they creative, or just
No,
your basic wieners?
For lack of a better term, it's just kids being dicks.
My favorite was always Dick Cat, which is just a cat with every limb as a dick. And also the tail, you're not going to believe this, is also a dick.
It's also like, wow.
Yeah. And if I was a better artist, would have found a way to incorporate more, but that was as far as I could get.
Wow, these things go off the rails in a hurry.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Getting more off the rails, apparently. What phrases or words have you, other than ones we covered, have you learned from your students?
Oh, phrases and words?
Yeah.
Yeah,
they
what are
change
some
every
cool?
year.
Yeah. What are some
Keep
cool
us hit,
words?
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting because, I make it a point to try to learn a little bit of the lingo because you got to be able to connect with them. So, of course, that's cap or no cap. That's very common.
What?
Are you all
Excuse
familiar
me?
with that one?
No.
No.
Okay, so it is if the thing you're saying is not to be believed. That's cap.
What is the
if you-
etymology of the phrase "that's
Don't
cap"?
I have no.
How do we
idea.
get from wherever to that?
Don't
I don't
know.
understand.
Don't know.
Okay,
Do not know.
but you know the
And
application.
of course, the inverse of that is no cap. If you're like you, us oldsters would be like facts.
Okay.
The youngsters are like no cap. What you've said, I absolutely agree with. Is
What?
absolutely true. Cap.
They
and
say
cap.
no cap.
No cap.
If it's true?
Like, that mean yes, correct. Like, you are not
cap.
shitting me. Yeah,
So no cap. Okay.
All right.
Right.
Is
Does-
is this
okay.
podcast Brat?
Yeah.
Are we Brat? Is that a thing?
No, we are not Brat.
We're not Brat.
Oh,
Okay.
we're not
We're
Brat?
dudes. We're all
Oh.
there are nothing but dudes here. This is not
Oh,
Brat.
so by definition, we cannot be Brat. Okay.
This is
do,
Brat.
I do not
instead of
believe
Brat.
unless I am badly mistaken, I do not believe so. However, I do take it upon myself to try to keep some older slang
Yeah.
relevant and to pass it on to future generations. I'm a big fan of word. My students will say something, and if I want to agree with it, I'll be like, word or word up.
Nice.
And they're like, dude. And they tell me that I'm not allowed to use their language.
What specifically has elicited that reaction when you've tried it out? I got to tell you, I have a youngster who works for my company, and he's a wonderful, talented, smart young man, and I do not know what he's saying half the time. And when he'll text me shortened versions of words, I'm like, with context, I still don't know what these things mean.
I commented on my relative degree of Riz, and they were very upset that I had brought that up.
Yes. Riz is short for charisma?
Correct.
Is that right? Something like
Okay.
But it's hard because a lot of times 11 and 12-year-olds don't know what charisma is.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
They're still working on English.
that? Yeah.
Are they okay after COVID? I feel like they lost some time. Are the kids okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
And
I think
very
emphatic
reassuring.
yes, Lawrence?
No,
That's
they're-
not reassuring.
They're okay. It's honestly, it's their parents I'm worried about.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
We don't want to get
'Cause-
you in trouble, so maybe off the pod, I want to hear about that. Unless there's something
No,
you're comfortable
I'm
sharing.
willing to bring this up because
Okay,
it's something that I think is relevant to everyone on our listening audience, is that it seems to me, because let's remember, I'm an old person. If I'm not mistaken, the oldest person to ever appear on this pod so far.
That's a true statement.
For now.
Yeah, for now.
For
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Okay. So as a member of an older generation, I see a lot of current day parents fearing that their children being sad, disappointed, unhappy, or depressed is bad.
Yeah.
And my response to that is children, especially teens, and I don't know if you remember your teen years, but they were certainly more recent than mine.
I was an angel. I never caused a single
Were
problem.
you?
Yeah.
Great, good for you.
Don't ask anybody that knew me, but it's true. Yeah.
It's you're supposed to be sad and disappointed and all messed up and depressed.
Yeah.
And it's not about whether or not you're sad or disappointed or depressed. It's how do you cope with that? Because it's going to happen. And I worry that parents are like, and I've been guilty of this myself, I'm sure, trying to make everything perfect around the children so they don't have to experience these things. And like COVID just exponentially increased that parental anxiety because that's like a legit generationally horrible thing to happen.
Yeah.
And now we're like, we gotta make everything nice for our babies. I'm like, no. What do you remember what you were like when you were a teen? Come on.
What was Teen
So-
Laurence, just out of curiosity?
Oh, teen Laurence was extremely sheltered, high achiever, faculty brat, and did not have any social skills to speak of outside of a very small circle of super nerds. We thought it was fun to go to a coffee house and speak French and drink coffee
Yeah,
because
that's
we were all
lame.
in AP French. Yeah, it was
That's pretty
so
lame.
fucking lame.
Your
That's
parents
pretty
are so
lame.
lucky.
Yeah.
That is a parent's dream. Oh, my kid got up to trouble. They had too much coffee speaking French today.
Yeah.
Like that's so
And like
much
being
better
on the
when I put my
varsity
parents through it.
tennis team was like the closest I could actually be
Ooh.
to a real human.
Huh.
Yeah. Not
Oh, that's
not
funny.
good. Academically awesome, socially not so much.
So speaking of that tennis team, so you coached the DSA team for a little bit, yeah?
I did. I was an incredibly smart person who decided, all right, I'm a first year teacher. I've just started my teaching career. And the AD of the school put out a mass email to everybody. Does anyone want to be the tennis coach for the boys' high school team? This is like within the first month of becoming a teacher.
Yeah.
And I was like, my dad coached a high school team. I could follow in my dad's footsteps and be a teacher and a tennis coach. So I signed up.
Very cool. I'm going to stop you right there. I think we hear a special guest in the background, Laurence. Who is that? Don't be sorry that people love dogs, and if they don't, go listen to Tennis Cat Podcast.
Yeah.
That is Honolulu. That is Lulu the dog.
Lulu
nice.
the dog. And what kind of dog is Lulu?
She is a town pity something mix. She's a mutt.
Do you want another dog? Or
We have
6?
2 dogs.
Matt?
We have a good
Got
dog.
lots of dogs.
I think
We have a
it's
good
time-
dog and a bad dog, and I don't need more dogs.
Matt, I think you got to do a plug. I think it's
You got a
time.
plug?
It's
How
a
many
special
dogs do we
plug.
have?
Yeah,
We've
I heard about
got-
your garage conversion.
Yeah, we got the shed converted. Needs a little bit more work, but yeah, we've got Otis in there right now. He's a hot commodity right now. He's got 3 or 4 people after him, so we'll probably lose him, and then we might be getting Daffy back. He's a good boy, but he's a little scared.
He's
My
a scaredy dog too.
Yeah. So, Laurence, you said you coached tennis high school, or was it middle school?
Yeah, high school. I was a middle,
school.
so
Yeah.
my school is 6 through 12. It's combined middle and high school. So I taught 6th grade and coached varsity.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about, because I've talked with some guys on the pod about, or not other places, about coaching. So if some folks were interested in coaching, what kind of advice would you give them?
I thought it was great because teaching them when they're 11 and 12 and then interacting with them when they're 15 to 18 was 2 very different experiences. It showed me that they're not just little annoying people. Like, they grow up. I got to see people grow up. I got to see people change. And also, when you're coaching a varsity sport, hopefully by that time you're with a group of people who are like really committed to doing well in that thing.
And so, if somebody wanted to get involved, because I think there's a lot of folks that maybe they had a coach who was impactful on them, maybe they just want to give back in some way. How do you go about getting involved with being a volunteer coach, whether part-time, full-time, assistant coach, head coach, whatever?
Yeah, the public school system, first off, has a formalized volunteer process. It's just basically it's background check.
Yeah.
We got to make sure that you're an acceptable human being before you're going to be around children. Beyond that, like, there's athletic directors at public schools are always looking for people to assume coaching duties. More often than not, it ends up being the parent of a kid who wants to play on that team is a lot of what it is. Other times it's a teacher who is at that school who is willing to put in the extra time. But if there were people like out in the community who want to get involved in supporting school athletics, I cannot recommend it highly enough. It is a great experience. And it is so important for the student because they need something that they can enjoy, look forward to. If you're not having a good week in math, you're not having a good week reading, if your studies is not the thing that really gets you going, but you will come to school every day because you know that at the end of the day, you got soccer practice or you've got a volleyball game or you're playing softball or something like that. So it's a hook.
That's so true, Laurence, by the way, because both Matt and I, like, I was not particularly academically inclined, but I liked playing tennis, and so I knew I had to show up if I wanted to play. That was it. So I did.
I probably would have dropped out. That was because I knew I couldn't get 2 Fs. That was the only thing keeping me from getting 2 Fs was tennis. I could have 1 F, and that was fine, but 2 Fs they wouldn't let me play, so I had to do just enough to get that, and then I could play tennis.
If it weren't for tennis, I'd be doing, I don't know, whatever Christopher Walken was up to in The Deer Hunter, probably. Not to be dramatic. That's a dated enough reference that I don't think anybody's, or very few are going to get that. Yeah.
I'm not going to get that. Zach, I have an idea. Yeah. I have an idea. So a lot of people we're getting a lot of East End juniors. I feel like when these East End juniors get to high school, we might have to get a couple of us to coach a team and create East End junior super teams. And then we can coach them at high school, and then we'll win a state championship.
So I don't know that we can get Coach Laurence back, but perhaps we can recreate him in the aggregate Moneyball style with a combination of local players. That would be pretty cool. Laurence, would you come out of retirement and coach again?
Yeah.
My
With the
daughter
Houston boys?
graduates in 2 years, so I would not be averse to getting back into coaching. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it.
Oh,
My deal was that I was good for tactics and the strategic and tactical
Yeah.
side of tennis. The folks that I didn't help very much, I'm afraid, were people who were new to the game, who were still learning
yeah.
the fundamentals of strokes. So,
But
like people like Josh who take people who know nothing, like grown-ups and kids who know nothing, and take them out on the court, are like, this is how you hit the tennis ball. I'm in awe of them because I don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
I feel like that shouldn't. My dad's doing that. He's coaching now too, and he's having that issue too. But I feel like generally at a varsity level tennis, you shouldn't be doing too much of that. If you're at that
Yeah.
level, like you're not getting paid enough to teach someone to play tennis.
Yeah, I was able to focus mostly on strategy and tactics.
Yeah.
How to approach the game.
I want to put a question to both of y'all, a youth tennis question. So, in my heart of hearts, I believe that I could beat the best 6-year-old in the world in tennis. Confident, in fact, that I could beat the best 6-year-old in the world in tennis. What is the oldest age best junior that you think you could win a singles match against?
Probably 6 or 7. I don't know. Maybe 8. I don't know how good they are at 8s.
I feel like I could beat the world's best 10-year-old at tennis.
10-year-old.
That's
I think once
They're
they
small.
12, that's
Yeah.
when they start. Like at least they start to build some muscles, and then they can run all day.
it's the Little League World Series. There's always like a random 6'4", 12-year-old. Okay,
Yeah,
come on, that's
exactly.
unfair. Lawrence, what you got?
Yeah, I think it's not even an age thing. I do think it's a physical structure thing.
Yeah.
Below a certain age, a kid isn't physically fast enough or long enough to reach certain shots. So I believe Zach is capable of hitting the ball corner to corner on a fairly consistent basis. And if he's got like a 10-year-old who's 4'8" or something like that, kid's not going to be able to reach all of them. So I give you a fighting chance against an 8-year-old, Zach.
That's very generous. Can you beat the best 9-year-old in tennis in the world in singles right now? Yes or no?
I heard that.
I'm hurt.
Have you read Andre Agassi's autobiography? Have you read Open?
one of the best, if not the best, sports biography that I've ever read. And
Didn't he
that's-
say that he was taking dudes for money when he was 3? His dad was having him out there at 3 against club
at
players.
3?
He did. He rallied with Jimmy Connors for the first time, I think, as a 3 or 4-year-old. Yeah.
Wow.
And I think I would have worked that 3 or 4-year-old. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I think I would have beat 3-year-old Andre Agassi.
Ooh, that's a bold statement.
That is a bold statement. I don't know.
Am I the only one? You guys don't think that you would have beaten? Also, keep in mind, he had era-specific technology. He wasn't playing with the full bed of polys. If this match is for keeps, you could sacrifice the arm to play with full polys.
Does he still have to play with the old rackets?
Oh, yeah.
Does 3-year-old Andre Agassi get to upgrade?
Now,
Yes.
now
no
we're
doubt.
changing the goalposts. we're
If you're playing with the wood racket, okay, now we're off the rails. What was the most rewarding part of coaching?
I would like to say there are two sides to that. We've known each other for a little while. I don't know if you all have noticed, I'm a fairly competitive person.
I think we all are to some
We
extent.
all are, yeah.
Yeah.
Part of me says the best thing about coaching was making it to the state finals. We were state runners-up in high school 2A in 2000. That was the pinnacle of my coaching career. But
For now.
the seeing the team come together
Yeah.
is probably what kept me coming back year after year. The seniors, the older, the upperclassmen showing leadership, the way that they work with the players below them, they pass the torch to the next class. I have a distinct memory of playing. It was a match that was going to either win us the conference or lose us the conference against Cedar Ridge High School in Orange County. And it came down to the last 2 doubles court. And all the guys who'd finished up their matches were all sitting on the bleachers behind the courts. and they were all sitting with linked arms, like next to each other. One guy hit his
yeah.
arm, and the other guy put his arm through that guy's arm, and they were all linked arms and were living and dying with everything that their teammates were doing out there.
Oh, wow.
And like that was something that it sticks in your brain forever.
What a special, cool moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. We're going to shift gears a little bit. It's been known, some folks have gotten a little confused. You guys play doubles together a lot.
Yep.
And every once in a while, somebody asks, hey, Laurence, are you Zach's dad? And I just wanted to get it on the podcast just to confirm, are you Zach's dad? Just to get it out there so everybody knows.
I am absolutely, positively, 1,000% certain that I am not Zach's dad.
It would be a great surprise to both of us. There is a resemblance, though. I can see,
Yeah.
I see it. If I had the goatee, Laurence, do you think that would be a tougher thing to convince people of? I feel like older brother is more realistic.
Yeah.
But the goatee, if I had the goatee.
If you saw my dad and my brother, you would see that we are all basically stamped out of the same forms.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just not enough resemblance. Sorry, Zach.
Good dream.
Well,
good dream.
it's there. It's official, so everybody knows Laurence is not Zach's dad.
Right.
All right. We've got
Fact
that cleared
check.
up. Yeah.
Speaking of fact checks,
Oh.
we have to correct the record on something.
We
Matt,
do.
what do we need to
So
correct the record
I
on?
had said a couple podcasts ago, it might have been two, I can't remember, that Brady had his appendix removed, and I was incorrect. Brady and I had multiple people tell me, including the source himself, tell me that he actually had part of his intestines removed, not his appendix. His appendix is just fine.
Wait, those are different things?
I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know anything about anatomy.
What exactly is an appendix? Do you need that for tennis?
It gets removed a lot, so you probably don't. I don't know, though. I'm not that kind of doctor.
Laurence, you're a teacher. Appendixes. Do we need them or what?
You're a teacher.
No,
Yeah, I don't know. Teach us. Yeah.
the appendix is a vestigial organ,
Oh.
which means it is
What?
What'd you call me?
it's something from way back in the past that evolutionarily is on its way out. The appendix is useless. The problem is that the appendix is filled with digestive bacteria
Oh.
because it is attached to the intestines.
Huh.
So when it ruptures, it means that you just spewed bacteria into the rest of your body.
Well, that's not good.
That's
Okay.
why a ruptured appendix is bad and will kill you.
I'm glad that Brady did not have that, and we hope that nobody else. has
Having
that
part of your
either.
intestines removed is worse than having
Oh.
your appendix removed.
We are glad that
Having
he's
an
okay.
appendectomy is like pretty basic surgery.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the more you know. Well, we rooting for a fast recovery. Glad
Oh,
that
he's
he-
on the court. I played him
great.
I played him in an offhanded match the other day, and we had a great time. He's doing great.
Welcome back, Brady. We are going to shift into plugs unless there are any additional fact checks. Lawrence, have we gotten anything wrong in the episodes you've listened to before we go to plugs?
I just want to correct the record with Matt, and please don't take this personally, Matt.
Yes.
But I think it is so cute, Matt, that you continue 12 years later to still cling to the glory of Christian Watford's last second.
Can I show you something?
Do you have? You told me. I heard you talk about the poster, the signed poster, or something like that.
I forget where the sign was, but I can share my screen here. It's on my desktop. I need to get a new one.
This is an audio-only medium,
I
but
know,
Matt appears to be sharing his screen.
Screen. Can you see my picture? This is. Yep.
That's delightful.
And look
Yep.
at that.
This is from. Yeah. This is my picture. No one else has this. Yes.
Matt has a proprietary image of IU beating Kentucky 73-72 on December 10th, 2011
Yep.
as his background.
And
Lawrence,
I think
did you watch
and
that game?
Of course, I watched that game.
Yeah, it's a big game.
Now, and I think it's delightful that you have immortalized
Oh my
the
God.
last good thing to happen in Assembly Hall.
We had one good season after that with Oladipo, but generally, yes, that was the peak since I've started watching IU basketball. That it really hasn't gotten much better than that. It's been pitiful.
So it's not a fact check per se, but I just wanted to point out that
Yeah.
Kentucky team did go on
Yes.
to win the national championship that season.
And they beat us on the road there.
And
the road
then,
to get there.
Yes.
Lawrence, when's the last time you didn't watch a Kentucky basketball game?
Probably 2001
Come on.
or thereabouts.
You're on a
2001,
20-plus year
2002.
streak of viewership?
Yeah, because
Wow.
there was a stretch when we couldn't afford cable and where we couldn't afford they didn't have all the games televised.
Yeah.
So we lived in places that didn't get it. But when we moved to North Carolina, I went to sports bars to get the random satellite feed. One tiny little, I forget what it was called, but it's in Chapel Hill across from the shopping center across from the Trader Joe's.
Oh, I know what
There
you're
used
talking
to-
about.
Oh,
there used to be
timeout.
a sports bar.
You
there.
used to go to timeout, the second location, or was it the
I thought
big
it was
one?
called Bailey's.
The
or
Baileys?
something.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would go there and beg the little dude with all the satellite
Yeah.
boxes, can you please put the Kentucky game on this one TV over in the
Yeah,
corner
over here,
or something
yeah.
like that? The rest of the place is all in that horrible, pale, washed out blue color. Yeah.
That's dedication. So we're going to move into plugs now, and today I'm going to start us off. I want to plug just the concept of therapy generally. I have been behaving on the courts in a way that I am deeply frustrated by, and Matt's rolling his eyes.
He's fine.
I'm working on it. I am not happy with how I've
Yeah.
conducted myself in the courts these last couple weeks and last couple months, and so I'm working on that with my therapist, and I am also in the market for a sports psychologist. So that's less of a plug and more of a request. If you got a good sports psychologist, please write in. I'm in the market for one. And you know what? If you're thinking about it, why not give it a go? What's the worst that could happen? Yeah, they could mess with your brain a little bit and make you worse off, but they probably won't. So we should do it. And with that convincing plug, Laurence, what do you have for us today?
Today I am going to plug public schools.
Woo!
Yay.
Yeah. And I know we have a soon-to-be ever increasing crop of East End juniors.
Yep.
And public schools, they're for everyone.
Really?
Yeah. You can have people with a variety of physical, emotional handicaps, disabilities, all kinds of abilities, kids with all kinds of interests and talents and curiosity, and public schools are for everyone. And the nice thing about schools that are for everyone is that, not to get, I guess it is political already,
Get into it.
there's standards and expectations and holding accountable the system that educates everyone. I got nothing against charter and private schools, but if you're going to take my tax dollars, then I want to make sure that you are accepting every student who wants to come to you and not just pick and choose these kids and not those kids using my tax dollars. So I encourage everyone, get to know your public schools. If you are a future prospective parent, if you are a voter, think about public schools and people who will support public schools at the local and state level. Because public schools, they're for everyone.
I'd like to piggyback off this. And if you are a homeowner, you also have skin in the game. The better the public school near you, the more you personally benefit, kids or no. And if you want to be a homeowner, same deal. So it's not like you're not getting something out of it. You benefit, and the whole community benefits from strong public schools. Matt, we can cut this if you want. Fuck vouchers. Come on, man. That's not the outcomes are proven to be worse with vouchers. Look it up.
Hanauer did a study. I actually have a paper on this.
Ooh.
I compared. It's one of my first ones I ever published. I compared charter and I forget what it was. It was like 3 or 4 charter-like schools, magna schools. I compared them versus public schools on social and emotional learning because that was an area that I was interested in for a while, and tried to see basically if there was any differences over a 2-year period. I was from pre-K to second grade, and found basically no differences. And in charter, voucher, none of them did any better. They did the same as public schools. So the argument was, why are we funding charter, voucher, and all those when they give at least the same outcomes it does on those types of on social and emotional learning?
Are we as
Yeah.
a podcast unequivocally pro traditional public schools?
Yeah, unless you have a good reason not to. I don't see why not.
I've got a little soft spot for charters. I feel like the way that they're utilized is totally wrong. Lawrence, hear me out on this. If they are what they were initially intended, which is a testing ground that's then supposed to migrate over to traditional public schools,
That's exactly what I was
fine.
going to say.
But it's not meant to take over an entire school system. That just doesn't work or make sense. It leaves people behind.
Yeah, you've absolutely nailed it. That was the intent of charter schools. They're supposed to be laboratories for new practices and different ways of approaching things. Absolutely.
But this is not the Triangle Education podcast. It's the Triangle Tennis podcast. So back on topic, Matt, what you got?
I'm going to shift hard. So some context to this. Zach and I will be doing a Challengers review podcast next this Sunday coming up. And so after watching that movie, I was feeling not good, just disgusted. I just have nothing. It was just so terrible. I had to cleanse, as Jody said, cleanse my palate, and I had to rewatch one of my favorite shows. So I'm going to plug it's a recent show called Blue Eye Samurai. If you're interested in samurai shows, and it's animated, but not like cartoon animated. It's awesome. It's about the samurai I think it's loosely based on historical events. There was a period where Japan didn't let any white people in, and it's based on this samurai who has blue eyes, so she basically, and everyone picks on her, and so she is going to murder all the white people in Japan as revenge, and it's a great story. It's awesome.
Hell yeah. We love movie recommendations. It sounds like, Matt, just a little, and I don't want to give away the farm. It sounds like you were not going to recommend Challengers.
I am not.
Laurence,
Go
have
ahead.
you seen Challengers?
I have not. When it comes out on streaming and there is literally nothing else to do, I might
Don't
accidentally watch part of it by flipping through channels.
I think there were.
Like, I am pro Zendaya,
Yeah.
but
What has Zendaya been good in? Like, I get that, like, you can be a cultural icon, but Jason Momoa can't act. Like, Brad Pitt, early in his career, wasn't great at acting. They're great to look at. What has Zendaya been good in? I haven't
she's
seen
slated in Dune too.
Yeah, she's solid in Dune. Yeah.
I have
And-
not seen Dune, so I guess.
Yeah, you're not a
Spider-Man.
sci-fi guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Spider-Man,
love her
she's solid.
Spider-Mans.
Yeah,
Both
she's
of
good
those,
Spider-Man.
she does great in those.
When I
Yeah.
have to contemplate the vastness of the universe, it depresses me, so I don't really do sci-fi stuff.
Dune's great, man. You're missing out. Well,
What am I
Yeah.
doing?
Oh, that's so bad.
Sorry. All right, and that has been plugs. So let's get into some tennis stuff. Laurence, you are the mind game king. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's a compensation strategy for lack of other physical skills.
When did it start? What are you looking for on the court and in your
Yeah, so
opponent?
it's
all that
kind of
stuff?
interesting. Like I said, I sucked when I was little. I wasn't a good tennis player. I wasn't good in high school. I wasn't physically big enough. Somehow, some way or other, my growth spurt was late. When I got to college, I got a little bit bigger. I started doing a lot more sports. One of the reasons why I failed out of my first year of college is because I played every intramural sport that MIT offered.
Wow.
I
You say every
competed
sport.
with.
Give
Huh?
us that's the list. Like what?
Okay,
intramural-
so I joined a fraternity, and if you can imagine such a thing, it was the jock fraternity at MIT.
that feels a little, respectfully, like an oxymoron.
I know, but it was like half the house was on the football team. They were a D3 football team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so I played intramural softball, soccer, ice hockey, volleyball, basketball.
Wow.
That's a lot.
I think that's. Oh, and then I went out on the freshman crew team, the rowing team.
That is a
and-
lot of intramurals. I thought it was
That's
going to be
a lot
like
of
3. That is a
intramural
lot of
No,
intramural
7.
Yeah, that was
I think
7.
at least 6
That's
or
insane.
7
Woo.
intramural or club sports. Because it was the first time in my life that I ever had a chance to be with what I considered cool kids. Like I said, a very small high school experience, and then going to a college in Boston, the world's largest college town. Academics took a strong, not even backseat, maybe being towed
Oh,
behind.
wow.
Yeah, it was not good. But I had an absolute flippin' blast, and I learned everything about people and competing probably during that process.
And so now when you're on the courts with somebody, what are you looking for to give yourself that advantage? And what kind of mind games would you say you're looking to play?
I look for what it is the opponent does best and trying to figure out ways to counteract it or prevent them from being able to do it. Sometimes it's really straightforward. Don't serve to Tyler Carroll's forehand.
Yeah.
A lot of it's like tennis is not a hard game.
Yeah.
But and then it's what are the counter moves to the things that people do? And I have seen it.
Tell the story.
Can you tell this? Can you tell the story behind "I'm Spock, bitch"?
That's a new one.
Because it's going to sound really self-effacing for me.
I think I've told the story about the time we played Brett Eccles and Thomas Gaither, two really good tennis players. We knew we were in for a tough match a couple times, and I believe that is the match that the "I'm Spock" B-word catchphrase originated from. And so I think essentially what was happening was we were down in the first set. They were playing very well. They're great players. And I was just trying to hype Laurence up, right? So a lot of, I've never felt this good about being down 3-1. Like that kind of, like the normal stuff. And I'm a chatterer on the court, like just constant talking. Laurence can attest to this, as can Matt. And just trying to keep things up. And we just got in rhythm and shots started falling. And Laurence, is it safe to say there was an athleticism gap on the court that day between you and I and Brett and Thomas?
If you combined their waistlines, it still would not match our waistlines.
Yeah, like they got veins and muscles and stuff. I don't know. Like, yeah, they're very fit guys, and we just got in rhythm. We came back. We ended up winning the first set in a tiebreaker, and
I think we made some adjustments on how we were approaching things.
Yes.
I want to say we started. Did we start going after him at the net? I remember a bunch of passing shots.
We changed the pattern. I think they were giving us the alley. Specifically, they were giving you the alley on the backhand side, which little did they know. Laurence, is that your favorite shot? That backhand down the line?
Actually, my favorite shot is the backhand down the line, but from the deuce side.
Yeah.
But either way, yeah, I like passing people.
Yeah, and there are a lot of passing shots. And in the second set, when we really got in rhythm, I think that we had kept making adjustments, and they hadn't really changed their style. And I think they were not quite sure what was going on because the momentum just shifted very quickly. And Laurence, I'm trying to get there. I don't remember where that phrase originated from. I know it was in that match. I know we made some kind of adjustment. You hit an awesome shot, and you looked at me and just go, "I'm Spock, bitch." And I just started cracking up. And that was when I went from thinking we were going to win to knowing we were going to win.
I think the reference we had talked at East End one day about you and I were playing against each other, and there was a reference to three-dimensional chess.
Yes.
That, like, you hit a shot someplace that you were going to hit where you thought I was going to be, and I thought you were going to do that, but then you knew that I thought that I was going to do that you were going to, and then you did something else, and you won the point. And it was like, I know that you know that I know that you know that I know.
That is
like
such a classic recreational tennis banter, just utterly nonsensical if you give it even a second of scrutiny. But in the moment, it made total sense. Because Laurence, I know that you know that I know that you know that I'm going to go there, and you know that I'm going to do that. And that doesn't actually make sense, but if you listen to it, it does. It does.
Nah, it doesn't.
And that is why Laurence Isaacs is Spock.
The biggest compliment that anyone has ever paid me as a tennis player was someone told me that I serve like a pitcher.
Oh.
Thinking, like, what does the batter expect? What is the batter good at hitting?
Yeah.
And then making choices about where to serve based on that.
It's true. And actually, Laurence, I've learned a lot from you about that because I think, I've got one particular serve that I enjoy hitting. My favorite serve to hit is the flat serve because I like to hit it fast and it goes fast and that's fun, right? That's not actually a winning strategy. And as a junior, I never quite was able to accept that. But as an adult now, Laurence, you were instrumental in getting me to accept that changing paces and locations and spin levels are actually in some cases, in many cases, a more effective strategy than just hitting it as hard as you can and hoping for the best. It took me 30 or so years to get there, but with your help, was able to.
You're welcome.
You're a pitcher. You're a pitcher on the court.
If you never give a guy the same serve twice, then they can't possibly get in a groove.
It's true. It's true.
Nice. I did, Zach, before we go to the next question, I was texting with Zach last night talking about best compliments. I had a righty match last night, and we got a special guest down there?
My daughter just got home.
Oh, I thought it was Zach. I thought it was Zach at his dog or something.
No, it's Lulu again.
Petunia the bulldog doesn't actually bark, and she never.
I've heard her bark.
She like, and it's not like a real bark, and so she's a rescue. We're a little worried that they did something messed up to her vocal cords, because the person that had her before Sarah and I did was a really bad owner and abandoned her. Yeah.
She is a sweetie. I love Petunia.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I forget where I was going. Oh,
Sorry.
Speaking of compliments, I had some very nice compliments last night. I was texting Zach. Right after I texted him, he called me right away. I was playing a righty match, and the guy, I think I was down actually in the match. I won the first set. I was like down 3-0, and the guy comes up to me and he goes, "I will never play you again. This is horrible. I would rather," he told me, he had hot sauce on his balls earlier, and I'd rather go sit in hot sauce with my balls
I'm sorry.
than play you.
Can we get some context for how that happened?
Yeah. How the match happened? Oh, how he got hot sauce
how he
on
got
his balls?
hot sauce. Yeah, like what?
He told me. He said he was in the shower and he had it under his fingernails, and then he got hot sauce on his balls.
Yeah.
I have eaten wings and then forgotten I ate wings
Right.
and then scratched my balls, and then I'm like, oh, that was a mistake.
This is a great actually time to plug something, which is, hey, without hot sauce under your fingernails, it is important to check yourself. Not even being funny here. We had a guest on who talked about the importance of that, and we are pro checking on yourself. It can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
Catch it early. Not with hot sauce, though. You do not.
No, wash your hands
2 thumbs.
before you do that. Hard pivot. Lawrence, when did you start playing USTA?
Oh, I started playing USTA around 2003 or 4. So when we moved to the Triangle, my wife is a scientist for the EPA, so they have a huge campus in RTP, so that's what brought us here. And our next door neighbor was an older lady who had a little old people tennis group. Somehow or other, must have mentioned in getting to know each other that tennis was one of the things that I knew how to do. So she invited me to come out and hit with her little group. They ended up having a mixed doubles team the following summer. So I joined USTA, the little algorithm made me a 3-5 because I'd been a shitty high school player. And so I joined her little mixed team and lost every single match. They did not invite me back to join the group. I was apparently a little bit too intense for their style of play. And I was immediately dropped down to 3-0 after that.
Okay, so you made the journey. You made quite a journey then.
You did.
I only played combo season because the spring season was during tennis season, so I was always coaching. So I could never play spring leagues, so I exclusively played fall combo. And I started out on a 6-5 team, and we went to the state finals and lost in the final. Eventually, I also got picked up by a 7-5 team, even though I was still rated a 3-0, because I guess the algorithm has changed over the years. That combo maybe didn't count as much or for anything. Yeah, so it was around 2003 or 4, started playing in USGA, and eventually got with some groups of people that were gradually more and more competitive, which was the way that I wanted to go. I'd been on a number of teams where the goal is everybody should have the same number of matches. Like, that was the captaining philosophy. Everybody on the team should get the same number of matches. And that's great. And I think rec tennis is great for people's physical and mental health.
So you went from 3-0C to 4-5C as an adult. That is really hard to do.
Yeah.
How did you do it? Did you have a training routine? Give us the tips.
I don't know. I think I was physically bigger and more mentally stable that I could finally put to use the things that I had learned as a youth. I was able to do stuff that I was never able to. Like, I was big enough to serve. I did do some group clinics and stuff like that, but honestly, most of it has just been through playing, and you guys know, not just playing people that are better than you.
Yeah. Yeah. It is really unfortunate how much I feel like I get and how much tennis players in general get out of just getting the shit kicked out of you. I went 0-7 and 5-0 this year, and it was great for it was bad for my confidence, but great for my overall game, because you see a normal 4-5 forehand, and after playing someone like Andreas Caro, you're like, oh, I can figure this out. I can adjust to this. I can steal some points here. Whereas at 5-0, it's not what to do.
Yeah, that's how I did it, Laurence. I just played. You just play and you get to where you're supposed to go if you keep playing.
Which is why what Stewart has done is so just amazing to me, because like he's putting in work. He's making it happen faster because of all the work and effort that he's putting into it. Honestly, thinking about it just makes me tired.
One other person I want to just give a quick shout out to who's really put the work in as of late is Mike Westlander.
Mm-hmm.
His game has grown by leaps and bounds. Every time I see him, he's got a new shot, and he hits it a little harder, and he's always hit it hard. And it's cool to see the pace of progression from folks that are part of our group. It's been really cool.
Yeah, everyone's gotten a lot better. That's going to be tough when I come back. Everyone's gotten so much better since I've been gone. I'm going to have to reset my expectations. Like, guys I used to beat are going to be more tough to beat. Guys I used to beat relatively easily, it's not going to be easy anymore. It's just going to take a little while. I'm going to have to reset that.
And Laurence, you I believe appealed down from 4-5 to 4-0, but as of today, according to Tennis Record, you are a bump risk to go back to 4-5. How do you feel about that?
I don't believe it for a second. I do not believe it for a second. No.
Do you want to bet?
Sure.
Okay.
What?
All right, if you get bumped to 4-5, would you wear an Indiana basketball jersey to watch a game with Matt at a bar?
Fuck no.
That's a good one.
What if Matt would be prepared to wear a Kentucky jersey if you don't get bumped?
I would never inflict that on. See, I'm not such a horrible person that I would ask an Indiana fan to do that.
Yeah.
We'll come back.
What would be fair? I don't know what a good bet. Let's wager a quality bottle of Kentucky bourbon.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
And so, is this wager between? So if you get bumped,
I'm not involved in this.
Okay. So Matt, you are the witness.
Yes.
Laurence, if you get bumped, you are going to buy me a quality bottle of Kentucky bourbon, and should
Without
you remain,
hesitation.
I will buy you a bottle of quality Kentucky bourbon, also without hesitation.
Okay.
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 We'll get our attorney.
We'll get lawyer. Yeah, we'll get our unofficial.
Your lawyer that is
official,
not actually
unofficial.
your lawyer?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes,
you get it.
did. You said it perfectly. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
LegalZoom.com is not a person, by the way.
Can we
But
fact
Max
check
is.
that? Are we sure? What is a person?
Corporations are people, right?
Yeah.
Corporations are people. That's right.
Everybody knows that. It's common knowledge. How many times have you been to States?
Oh, but I don't want to sound like I'm bragging because it's been a time.
You should
It's
brag,
infinitely more than I have.
though. Tell us about how many times you've been to States, Laurence.
I had a wonderful streak where I believe I went to States probably maybe 10 years in a row or so. From 07 to 18.
That is just
Wow.
outrageous. 10 years in a row?
I only played combo for the first half of that because since I was coaching high school tennis, I couldn't play in the spring because that's when the high school boys season is in the spring. So I only played fall combo. And I was lucky enough to be on some teams with an amazing captain named Nick Gwen. He lives in Wilmington now. He was a tech guy, worked at RTP. Volleyball player. He routinely hit overheads from the baseline with a badminton snap to his wrist. It was
so
crazy.
rad. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
He had a jump serve in tennis too because he was a volleyball player to start with.
Oh.
That feels like
but he was a
example
great
of
guy.
cross-training. Yeah.
Yeah.
The best thing about it, and it's a lot of why I am so happy to have met the East End boys, is that it's the same level of camaraderie. or I believe the word is doodliness. Is that the correct term?
Doodliness is the correct term.
We strive to promote good doodliness. And
Yeah.
while we don't always live up to it, we always strive. And what else can we do but strive?
Yeah, so like this run of going to states was exclusively the result of just excellent doodliness. Excellent dude, like
Yeah.
it attracts good people with good chemistry, play good tennis.
Yeah.
And the thing that we started doing at that time that I'm hoping will move on to the East End boys is like you guys I think did in Wilmington. We would always get a big place where we'd all stay when
Yeah.
we'd go to states.
Hey,
And just
related
like
to
that being together.
what is the best place to go to for states? Is it Snow Hill?
No. No, it is
Snow
not.
Hill.
I'm very sorry.
Kinston? Kinston?
Fuck
Absolutely
Kinston.
not. Absolutely not.
There, you know what? There is a Chinese buffet in a strip mall in Goldsboro that I remember from state singles.
Wow.
You know,
No,
a
it's
buffet
Wilmington.
after a long day of tennis is a magical thing. When you've earned
Wilmington
it,
is
ooh.
the best place for a tournament in North Carolina.
Okay.
Okay.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
I have a strong anti-Charlotte bias, so as long as you said anywhere other than Charlotte, I was going to roll with it.
Yeah. I haven't played in Asheville, but I like Asheville, so I'd probably like there best. But Wilmington's always been fun. I've had combos in Wilmington, and I always have the most fun in combo, so that's probably why I like it there.
They put on
Yeah.
a great tournament, and it's for a good cause. And like they get the ratio of tennis to hanging out and to partying exactly right in Wilmington. I don't know that I could live there because that's a big drinky party city. It seems.
I think you're a little too young still. I think you got to be at least 50 or over.
Coast-
Max was telling me like he wants to move down there, but he can't move at least until he's at least 40 because
Yeah.
there's no 18 plus teams down there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Daniel,
Is that
Daniel
what
Marchand.
drove Daniel
Daniels,
out?
yeah. Yeah,
Big
it's the
guy
one
that
that
drove him
Daniel
back
was
to
on.
us though. That's the
Mhm.
good. Welcome back to Director of Marketing Daniel Marchand.
Yeah.
You know, the worst town for a tennis tournament?
What's the worst town?
Mobile,
Why is it
Alabama.
Kinston?
What?
Oh,
Mobile, Alabama.
Was sectionals in
Southern
Mobile?
sectionals.
Yeah.
Just. Ugh.
We went to Rome, Georgia, and we were like all making fun of it when we got there. But it's a nice little town. Did I ever tell you about the
All
King?
roads
You
lead
guys
there?
heard about the King's Inn? The King's Inn in Rome,
No.
Georgia.
Ooh,
So
do tell.
Spencer got, because Spencer is a thrifty man, so he's hey, let's stay at the King's Inn, because I had done an Airbnb and it had gone horribly wrong, and I had lost thousands of dollars, so I didn't want to do that again. So Spencer was like, okay, we'll do a motel, and he got the King's Inn, and it looks a little sketchy. It doesn't look great, but it's got good reviews. And we get there really late, but the next day they were all making a joke like we're going to look at the blacklight and see how bad it was.
Oh no.
And yeah, so I think there was a video of one time they did my room and I was there and everyone turned off the lights and we got the blacklight out and it was bad.
Like when you say bad, paint the picture for us, Matt.
Everywhere.
Of the King's Inn. Oh.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Jackson Pollock?
Yeah. Yeah. It was everywhere. But it was a great hotel. It was a motel. It was a nice little hotel. We had a good stay. I would highly recommend it to anyone staying in. Just don't bring a one of those lights, UV
You
lights.
don't want to know.
Yeah, you don't
want
wanna
to
know.
Want to know.
Otherwise, we had a great time there.
But if you don't know,
Is
hey,
a
you
black
don't know.
light typically something someone has in their tennis bag? I do not.
It's not something I recommend. That was a special. People were worried about us at the King's Inn, so they had brought that to check because everyone was very concerned.
And you know what? Perhaps for good reason.
Yeah, yeah.
Laurence, what has your best tennis season ever been? Was it one of the years that you went to states?
Oh, yeah.
The 10 years
so
in a row?
2011, 2012, best season ever. Yeah. I had a young, tall, so think if Ryan Seiko had just moved up from around, it was around 3.5 or 4. So a youthful Ryan Seiko just testing the beginning of his powers. Jordan Schiff was his name. He played high school tennis he went to DA. Yeah, don't shake your head like that.
What's the
Durham Academy.
I'm a Trinity alum, and they used to
Mhm.
kick the shit out of us in every single sport.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Yeah. Jordan and I went on a 53 match winning streak over the course of 2 seasons.
Wow.
That included back-to-back state championships
wow.
in 7-5 and our matches at sectionals as well.
What a run. Did you
It's
ever
crazy.
start, like, at a certain point when you're on a winning streak like that, did you start to feel pressure, or were you just so in rhythm that you were confident you were going to get it done?
At that time, I felt pretty fucking invincible.
Yeah.
Do you guys know Berman?
Yeah.
Yep, of course.
Yeah.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod.
Yeah. Jordan and I... Sean is a righty, correct?
Lefty.
No, lefty Sean.
He's the left. Okay, there's another... Okay. So there's another guy that is a 4-5 now who we played against back then also. But Jordan and I played Sean Berman and some other dude in the semi-final of 7-5 combo on the courts at UNC Wilmington's courts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great courts, beautiful courts. And Lefty Sean and I, you guys know I play the backhand side.
Yep.
Probably exchanged who knows how many shot rallies with Sean's lefty forehand going to my two-handed backhand. And I just felt invincible. I was just fucking ripping the thing. And my partner, 6'3", so all he has to do is look for even the slightest opening.
Yeah.
And he comes across and picks it off. And it was just... And I just felt awesome. It was great. I can remember the winning volley in the championship match that year, and I can see it right now.
Oh, yeah.
Which is interesting, because usually, I don't know about you guys, but I remember the L very vividly.
No. I remember, so there's several matches at States where me and Jason, oh my god, I'm blanking on his last name. Ian, what?
Jason Liss?
No. I can't remember his last name. Oh, I feel terrible. We had several great matches. The one where we beat Patrick and Stephen Holmes. I remember like almost the whole match. It was great.
I have a gift and a curse, which is I've never thought that I was going to lose a tennis match until after I've lost the tennis match. And I don't know if I memory hole losses or what, but I don't remember anything from losses. I only remember wins. And it makes it hard to make adjustments, but I think also at least I have like delusional confidence in my game sometimes.
That can be
Sometimes
useful.
You need that. Yeah, it can be.
You guys have both played with me. I think like when you have delusional tennis confidence, you hit dumb shots. But sometimes dumb shots work.
Yeah. It helps when things get tight. Getting back to, speaking of that, I don't know if I mentioned this last time. I finally restrung a racket. It took me 2 months to do it. And yesterday I broke a string, so now I still have a racket staring at me for the whole time. It was gone for one day, and now I have another racket staring at me, so hopefully I'll get it done. But speaking of racket setups, Laurence, tell us a little bit about yours.
Okay, I play the head radical mid plus. Right now I have some new strings that I don't remember what they are, but I'm afraid I don't really like them. But I do need to thank the miracle of Stick Santa because I broke a string.
Shout him out.
Michael Young, Stick Santa, got both my rackets strung with new strings within, 4 hours or something?
Oh, wow.
Crazy. He came by my house to pick them up.
Wow.
And then brought them
That
back.
is Stick Santa.
And it is not his fault at all that the choice of strings turned out to be bad. But I couldn't get what I usually go with. I play the Zelenko Tour Bite at 53.
And has that always been your string setup, or is that a new...
I used to string it tighter. I used to pretty much max out. I liked when I played with Prince rackets, I played the Salon Savage Black.
That pairs nicely with the Prince pattern.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, yeah.
But they stopped making those rackets. It took me a while to demo enough to find something with similar characteristics.
I hope that we can welcome you back to the Prince family as a Phantom user. The Phantom boys are growing. Daniel Marchek is a Phantom boy. Sam Fishman, Phantom boy. I think that we're the only 3 in America, but there could be others too.
I got 2 problems with rackets in general. Is I need something head heavy, so I can't ever play a Babolat. They're too fucking light. They're just awful. And also, since I don't actually have good tennis strokes, I have to play a narrow beam frame. like the ultra wide frames as wide as the Babel. So I clip the bottom of the frame on the swing.
The Phantom is famously thin, a slender frame.
Is it?
It is. Oh yeah.
I played the classic Prince Graphite all through high school.
Oh my God! Come back to the Prince family. Come back to the Prince family.
There might be a diadem racket for you. I'm gonna send you a link.
Oh.
I'm thinking of one that I think you might like. I'll send you a link to one, Laurence, and I think you can get a 2-week trial or something.
I'm happy to demo rackets.
Yeah.
Happy to demo rackets.
Yeah, I'll send you that. Oh, I have one more plug, Zach. I forgot. I want to plug you. As me, I am putting together a dream team in search of the golden pickle. And Zach, I couldn't get Zach to get on the team, but I convinced him to be a very official hype man on our pursuit of the golden pickle. So I have added him to the chat. He will be getting us sufficiently hype when he can before matches, and has agreed if we make it to the East Coast Championships to show up with a got him sign.
I sent a series of all caps messages immediately upon joining the group me, as every good hype man should do. But we're here to talk tennis, not pickle, golden or no. Laurence, we've gone long because it's been such a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for coming on. But before we get out of here, we want to close with our go-to question. Tell us what tennis means to you.
Tennis is my outlet for sanity. It's people that I want to be around. It is my virtually only source of physical exercise. It connects me to people with one shared interest. But then once you're with those people, they all have other things. It's not like the only thing we have is tennis, is because you learn so much more about folks and then get to spend time with them. It is my avenue to get out my competitive spirit, because if I didn't have the chance to max something really hard every once and then, every now and then, I might pop. Maybe that's a personality defect of my own, but
it's one that many of us share. If it
yeah.
is, let me tell you.
Maybe I need a sports psychologist.
If I get one, I'll recommend them.
Yeah, and it's just that it is the community plus the competition that has that extra benefit of also helping keep you physically fit and active. And it's something that I can still do even as I get old enough to be Zach's dad.
Laurence, thanks for being a great doubles partner. Thanks for being a pal, and thanks so much for coming on today. This has been another episode of the Triangle Tennis Podcast. And if you haven't yet, mash subscribe. Bye.
Yeah.